who is up? Tell me in the comments for a 4 p.m. dance party.
So you're getting ready to go to the dance club at 2 p.m.
Yeah. What else am I doing?
I don't know.
Yeah, we get older every day. Got more wrinkles, that's okay. Yeah, we're laughing when we age. Life is like a comedy stage. And that's why we got laugh lines.
Hey, everybody. I'm Kim Holderness.
And I'm Penn Holderness. Welcome to Laugh Lines.
If you think that the very best music is played at the grocery store, then this is your podcast.
Yes, it is.
You are home.
It is getting more like right down our alley from college.
Better yet, there was like some salt and pepper. There was like Push It at the Harris Teeter. And of course, I was like, I wasn't even trying not to dance. I was like really busting it out. But I was thinking that is Push It appropriate? Let's go with it.
100%. What are you doing in a grocery store?
You are pushing it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They were really leaning in. Sorry, I just didn't even get it. They're better.
Push it real good.
Is it somebody's job to come up with a playlist at stores like that? Because that's a pretty cool job.
Is that a job that you'd like to have?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Friends, big day today. We are talking about Oprah. Just very casually going to talk about her.
I'm sorry. I think you said the name wrong.
How will you say it?
Oprah! You can't just say Oprah.
We have some just general advice. You guys asked questions about ADHD, perimenopause. Doesn't that sound amazing? I promise it'll be fun. And stay tuned at the end of the show. We have our fun segments that I love so much about what Gen Zers are saying. We got a new one this week at the dinner table. And are we done with? And this week, are we done with clubs? The answer might shock you. So stay tuned. Friends, by the time you see this, okay, there'll have been a gap between posting. I get that. But this has been our first opportunity to talk about our conversation with Oprah Winfrey.
I know you'll recognize internet stars Kim and Penn Holderness. They won the Amazing Race on CBS, and their song parodies have billions of views.
So I will say this. We were guests on her podcast. Was not on my bingo card to talk to Oprah about perimenopause. We got the initial email, and it came to Anne-Marie, our producer, and we thought it was a scam. They said, hey, we know the Holderness family videos, and we know you guys talk about perimenopause. We're doing a podcast on perimenopause. Would you guys want to come on as guests? Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, just real quick, you guys, like, do you need me? Like, I was very confused when they called. I'm like, this should be you. I don't have, or
you probably won't ever have.
Probably won't ever have perimenopause, but they wanted to talk about what men can do, how much better they can understand it. And so I was like honored and talk about bingo card. Definitely didn't have it on my bingo card that I was going to be talking to Oprah about perimenopause.
So my darling husband, who's been very understanding through this process, he said, like, why don't we just call that person Perry? It's Perry's fault. So so we just decided, like, if I was in a rage, he's like, well, Perry maybe is going to leave soon, so let's just stick it out. So yes, we created a whole entire character on our platform called Perry for perimenopause.
First of all, I will say there was a very popular scam going on that that creators get emailed, and we've been emailed so many times, like
Chelsea Handler,
or in the Dirty Jobs got Mike Rowe, and we were so excited. We were like, oh my gosh! But then if you read very closely, what they want is your account information so they could hack your account, and some people have been hacked doing it. So we thought, obviously. This is a scam. So Anne-Marie's here, actually.
Yeah, we should jump in, and like, this is a good idea to talk about this because Anne-Marie has been the one who taught us about these scams. And then, like, you did some vetting on this. Like, didn't you like look up some, like, find out the person who sent you the email? Like, let's make sure this person has a job.
Have no idea. I was in the CIA part-time. I know the home value. I know their moving history. I know if they renewed their car tags. I know everything. I don't know why, like, the FBI, CIA doesn't just hire more social media super sleuths, because serious vetting, 100%. I was so nervous to bring you the opportunity because I was like, I don't want to lose my job.
Well, you wouldn't lose your job. We would get really excited. And then it would be like, there was like, you know whose podcast we were on one time? Kate Hudson's brother.
But that was great. He was a nice guy.
She was filming a movie. She
was unavailable.
She normally is there, but not that day.
Not that day. But so we were sort of joking, because that's totally fine. And like, what a privilege to be interviewed by Kate Hudson's brother. But that was a huge privilege.
He was great.
He was great. He was so great. So Oprah, we were like, this
brother.
We're like, this is definitely not going to be like Oprah. And so we had the pre-call with the producer. It was definitely Oprah. It was an episode about menopause, perimenopause. But how they do it's over Zoom. I definitely was willing to fly at my own expense to go hang out with her. But they said, slow your roll.
It looked like a beautiful place where she was.
It's like anyway, it's stunning. So we were basically the equivalent of an audience guest, right? Like how she used to talk to the audience members.
Mm-hmm. We were like an
audience plus. Like they played some of our videos. So it was like a 10-minute bit. So that was pretty significant. But you're sitting on Zoom and you have to log in kind of early. Mm-hmm. So we see like all the setup, all the stuff. And the producer did say, hang out after your segment. Sometimes Miss Winfrey will come back and say, hey, well, what do you think about that, Penn? Although the chances are sort of slim, like, hey, we'll take our chances to talk to Oprah. So after our segment, we just were sort of hanging out for like another 20 minutes. And the producers are like, you guys can go now. And we're like, are you sure? You sure you don't want to talk to us anymore? And we were like, okay. I mean, just call us if you need anything.
We're good.
No, we're good.
Yeah.
You guys are good. But she was lovely. I mean, you made her giggle, Penn. I don't think she would remember us, like if we actually met one time, but I think it's a cool story to tell at cocktail parties that
you hear her saying Kim, comma. I don't know what it is. Most people, if they say your name, it's not like a big deal.
But she said Penn.
Yeah. So Oprah was like, Penn, talk to me, Penn. What advice do you have, Penn? I'm like, well, this feels different. I don't normally feel this way when someone just says my name, but Oprah just said my name. And it was, yeah. You know what? I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. And then she laughed. And I mean
that's just
I love it when you laugh. There's nothing that I love more than when you make me laugh. There isn't like
except
your laugh,
for maybe
when Oprah laughs. Like that might be the one thing.
Fair. Totally fair.
And Dr. Malone, who was in the show with
guest.
her, is she's awesome. Like I actually met her very briefly, and that was one of the stories that we told in the podcast.
Yeah.
But she's another one of those people who's just like a rock star crusader for like women understanding their bodies, understanding their rights, and understanding what needs to be done for women not to feel overlooked and misunderstood by the medical community.
Yeah.
So that was like really cool being a part of that movement, even though I'm a dude.
Well, we need dudes.
It was
we need dudes. So, because we don't get invited into the rooms that you get invited into sometimes. So we need the dudes. Well, that was a really cool experience.
Yeah, it was.
And I think was not on our bingo card. It just means for 2026, I think we need to adjust the bingo card. Like what's
our bingo card?
So I know you're not big on vision boards, Penn.
Me?
I love a vision board, but maybe your vision board, your is a bingo card. So there's just possibilities. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be on yours? I mean, we've reached I won't say we've reached the top because we talked to Oprah, but it was over Zoom. I think meeting her.
Yeah. Knowing that we started this sentence with, I know you're not big on vision boards.
Let's do it anyway.
So why don't you start?
I would say, I'm going to put it out into the universe. I would love to meet Dolly Parton.
That would be awesome. Dolly's doing good, right?
Yes.
Okay, like I'm making sure.
Don't even talk about that.
Oh, I'm just making sure. Like I love Dolly Parton. Like
what would Dolly do is sort of my like life. She's very Jesus-like.
Agreed.
So
agreed.
Yeah, what would Dolly do is how
So meeting Dolly Parton.
What about you?
Well, so if it's a bingo card, we need 24 plus a free space, or we're just okay.
Give me just like one.
I think I'd like to play basketball with LeBron James for an hour. Like that would be on my bingo card. Or to honestly, Oprah's great. Like the Obamas is like the only that would go above that. Sorry if I'm being like political, but they're just my heroes.
Yeah.
Like just to have the opportunity to
play basketball with Obama.
Yeah.
Okay.
And LeBron.
I
want to play basketball with, and I bet Obama's better than me at basketball now. I'm getting old and crusty.
We got an email, and the title of this email I think is going to make a hilarious video. We haven't shot it yet, but it sort of writes itself. The title of the email is Perimenopause and ADHD Walked into a Bar. And I just think the title needs to be a video. But this is from Andrea. Okay. I'm going to read this.
Okay.
And this is where the advice part of this podcast starts.
Hang on. Let me take this piece of paper off my iPad. Go ahead.
For those listening, we are still holding clipboards. Big talk on sponsorships, but we're not there yet. But once we get them, man, iPads are coming.
This is still kind of more on brand, though.
My husband is my ADHD person with the typical manifestations: lost items, unfinished tasks, nothing put away, impulsive, blah, blah, blah. Until perimenopause joined the party, his ADHD behaviors were at most exasperating. Now that perimenopause has joined the party, we have one neurodivergency too many. Kim, how do you handle it when you walk through the house and see the aftermath of a person with ADHD, and instead of being supportive, you lose your ish? And Penn, how do you handle it when Kim is having a rough hormonal day? She goes on to talk a little bit about the struggles on that. First of all, again, ADHD and perimenopause walking into a bar is going to be a hilarious video. Stay tuned. But she asked a good question because so many of ADHD symptoms and perimenopause symptoms do overlap. Because we are who we are and we've written a book about ADHD, we've actually logged some of the similarities we have. ADHD is a spectrum. Perimenopause is different for everybody.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, it's interesting because she wasn't really talking about her having trouble with executive functioning. She was talking about her emotional part, which, by the way, happens in ADHD too.
Right.
So there's even more similarities than people are aware, for sure. So, like, what is your advice?
I thought about this for a long time, and I have no advice because it is such a wild, wild time. I think knowing and hoping that for us and our bodies, for the hormonally, it's a stage and it's a phase, and hopefully those instincts, like those rage moments, like I feel deep rage. I have to sort of like stuff down in my soul sometimes. I'm hoping that's just a phase. So knowing that there is an end, I hope, to this, in some of the books I've read, your memory does improve, and all these things will improve and there's hormone replacement therapy, there's different medications, there's lifestyle changes. Like the way I sort of am handling my own, like I get mad at myself. Like the rage isn't always pointed to my family, is that it's a phase. But I have to say, like, there's moments I'm just not handling it well. What about you?
Well, that was really good. I think, honestly, what you just said is close to what I'm going to say, and you didn't realize you were actually giving advice there, which was good advice. The two things that I would preach are patience for the person who is receiving the neurodivergence. That is me, being patient and letting you get out whatever it is that you're thinking. Because an outburst can be a symptom, right? So letting you get through it, preaching patience, and rewarding self-awareness.
Yeah. On
both sides. So like really, which you just did, if you are self-aware enough and not ashamed, even though you sometimes are ashamed, not ashamed to say, man, I'm sorry, I just kind of flew off the handle there. That might be Perry.
Yeah.
Or me, like, oh my gosh, I just got really overwhelmed and I redlined in my executive functioning and something fell through the cracks. Then it's the other person's, I would say, responsibility to say, man, well done. Like, I'm so glad that you said that. And sometimes when you're patient, it allows that other person to get to that point.
Yeah.
We're talking about adults in this situation.
Yeah.
Right. Adults are a little bit further along when it comes to self-awareness. And I think it's not unreasonable to ask for it. And it's just a much more friendly way to get through life.
You were pretty anxious last night, just about a lot of stuff going on. And you said this was a night where I really could use a beer, but we're trying to really downshift on the alcohol intake. And so you were just pacing, and I said, you can have a beer. So instead you took the tiniest sip of vodka and then you poured it out. But you were just pacing, your executive function. You were redlining last night. But you were very self-aware. and you were like sitting up, standing down, walking around the table. And I was like, I'm just going to sit here.
Yeah, you waited. And I think I said something about it. And then I went upstairs. That was a good example. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was, it's a lot. It's a lot. But so if you guys are interested, I have literally cataloged where I think the similarities come.
Oh, okay.
Because there have been moments, and we were out, talking about ADHD is awesome. We were on these tour stops, and you would tell stories about your ADHD, and I wrote, and my whole contribution in that book was, I'm the person without ADHD. I'm the person that lives with the person with ADHD. And I'm supposed to be this, alternative viewpoint. But there are things you talk about with ADHD. I'm like, well, crap, I feel that too. Like, do I have ADHD? I think you can dig back and realize I didn't have these things as a child. It is perimenopause. But here's the things. Brain fog, it's very common in ADHD, and it's a hallmark perimenopause symptoms because of the drop in estrogen. Mm-hmm. Forgetfulness. All of a sudden, I don't remember anything. And normally I could juggle all that stuff, and that's very common with ADHD. Mm-hmm. Difficulty concentrating, obviously, kind of premier ADHD symptoms. But I would be like typing a script and then forget the next thing I'm writing. So that's just something that I freaked out. Word retrieval. Okay. Apparently this is an ADHD symptom, but we've made like jokes about this. I couldn't remember the word pothole. So I was trying
I'm just laughing because
that's a very random.
What was your guess for what it was? Because it's a hole in the street, street hole.
I was typing a text to a friend who recently lost her job. She was asking advice. She's thinking about starting this podcast. She's smart. She's brilliant. It would be an amazing podcast. I said, let us help you. We've been down that road and we know where the potholes are, is what I was trying to say, like how to avoid the potholes. For the effing life of me, I couldn't remember. And I was like, it's not red flags. It's not bumps in the road. It's not. And I sat there and I almost went to ChatGPT to be like, what are the things in the road called? I had to change the format of my text. I had to say,
started over.
I started over. Like, let us give you advice. I could not. And then an hour later, I'm like, potholes. I got there. But I could not think of the word.
So I have had that before. It might be an everyone thing though. Like we can.
I didn't used to ever have that.
So when I was like 30, I was talking to Todd Lewis, and
you guys know Todd.
Yeah, you guys know Todd, right? I was trying to say seahorse. And I don't know why I couldn't say it, because I've seen it's the little horse in the sea, and I couldn't think of it, and I just said horsefish. And
it is a horsefish.
And I thought that was good. And Todd, when I see him still, he's like, remember when you said horsefish?
Remember when you said horsefish? So I thought it would be fun to have a little game show with the help of our producers, Sam and Anne-Marie. And the title of the game show...
Is it ADHD or perimenopause?
I think that, first of all, it's a podcast unto its own, but Sam is going to ask us some questions, and then we are going to answer ADHD or perimenopause.
Okay.
First question.
Wait, should you talk like, first question?
First question. How to do?
Yeah, that's good.
So good.
You walk into a room and instantly forget why you're there.
Both.
Yes. So you're going to answer as perimenopause. You're yes, and obviously... Yes. 100%. Why did I come into this room?
That's correct. Failing hormones and dopamine are on strike.
Yep, that's right.
Yep.
Well, I don't have enough dopamine.
And I ain't got enough hormones.
Yep.
Second question. You burst into tears because you saw a puppy and you forgot almond milk at the store.
That's perimenopause right there.
Maybe a little bit ADHD too. We do get emotional sometimes, but maybe not as much as I do. I get just inexplicably emotional sometimes, and someone explained to me it's because of my dysregulation. So
yeah, I it's so funny. I will cry at a puppy video on Instagram, but my daughter graduated it, and I was like ice in my veins. I was like, something's wrong with me.
She's pushing.
I push it down. I'm pushing it down. It's fine.
The estrogen drop of perimenopause causes an emotional drop kick. Third question. You hyperfocus for 6 hours on reorganizing your spice rack, but forgot to eat lunch.
That's ADHD. Yeah, I never forget a meal.
Yeah.
That's the dopamine tunnel vision special.
I'm really digging Sam's voice.
Yeah. I will say Penn was editing something the other day and I came up, I was standing next to him for 3 minutes, just waiting for him to break focus, and he didn't. So finally I tapped his shoulder and he screamed. And I was, he didn't even know I was physically standing next to him.
Was I recording? I think I had my headphones on.
You definitely had your headphones
So I was
on.
doing an audio edit.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Okay.
But I was in your like peripheral vision.
You haven't slept through the night since 2019, and you don't know if it's hormones, your brain, or the crushing reality of the news.
I think it's all of the above. And I think that's a perimenopause. You just don't sleep.
I have trouble getting to sleep. And once I'm asleep, it's all good.
You put your phone in the fridge and your yogurt in your purse.
I have to say, I would say on the surface that's ADHD, but really it's perimenopause too. I've done some stupid stuff. I left my purse at the gym. Like I had to go.
She said that like it was, that's like a Tuesday for me.
I know, but I don't forget things places.
Right.
And so I came home.
You were so bent out of shape about the fact that you left your purse at the gym.
Because it's my purse.
It's fine. I've left. You know how many places I've left my wallet?
My Mahjong cards are in there. I'm kidding. My wallet's in there.
What would you have been most upset about not being able to
not
retrieve?
Your credit card, not your ID. It's the
but
Mahjong.
the 2025 Mahjong card had some errors in it. So I had to get little stickers to put over to make corrections. So I have a corrected Mahjong card, 2025 Mahjong card in my purse.
Yeah.
And if somebody took that.
Wallets are replaceable. The 2025 corrected Mahjong card.
No, it would have been
painted.
Anyway, but I found my purse and nobody took it.
You tried to multitask, and now you're standing in the kitchen holding a sponge, crying.
That's both.
Yeah, it is.
That's both. Yeah.
It is. Like, you just hit on shame. Like you get to a situation where you even yourself realize how ridiculous and helpless you are, which sometimes happens, and it is overwhelming.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing our game. Is it ADHD or perimenopause?
I love a game show format. Here's the next turn in this wild and wonderful podcast. We went to Instagram, and I wanted to know, you've often asked us for some unqualified advice, but I wanted to know specifically, like, what's like the really weird life advice you have that actually works? So we're heading over to the Laugh Line.
Laugh Line is the part of the show where everyone will find Laugh Line. You call us up and you tell us what's on your mind.
First up, this is Wally from Minnesota.
The best advice I've ever been given, which is simple but kind of weird. It helps me keep things in perspective, and it's a bit of a mantra. You either have a great time or a great story, and when you're really fortunate, you have both.
I love that.
Yeah.
Maybe you should use this next one from Sally. She's from North Carolina. She said, when your mind is super active, especially right before you go to sleep, take a deep breath, sigh it out through your mouth, and then say to yourself, I wonder what my next thought is going to be. Boom. And your mind clears and you fall straight to sleep. I think it's going to take that plus a lot of melatonin to get me to sleep, but I'm going to try that. I wonder what my next thought is going to be.
Exactly. So this is a I'm going to try it thing.
Yeah.
I feel like getting to sleep and curing the hiccups have 9 million possibilities, and they're super subjective, but every once in a while, someone will say one that also works for you. Mm-hmm. So that's, but you should always worth trying. Let's go back to the Laugh Line. Melinda from Tampa, Florida.
So if I have to get things done in the house, I purposely dress like a hobo so that I will not go out and do other things. So I won't go shopping and I won't go run errands. I'll do exactly what I need to do inside my house because I look like a hobo.
First, thank you for calling.
Yes.
Second, are we allowed to say hobo?
No.
The term hobo has become increasingly stigmatized and often considered offensive, using homeless or unhoused.
Yeah,
unhoused.
Right. Yeah,
okay.
Class,
so this is what Melinda meant. And then now we all know. I would say she sounds like an extrovert because I could have a ball gown out and never want to leave the house. I struggle I don't need to ever leave the house. But for an extrovert, this is probably a really good tip.
No, I love it. It's a hack, right?
Yeah.
That's a good life hack.
Ruth sent us an email, another North Carolina listener. Treat your husband like you treat your dog. Honestly, there are times in this house when I feel a little guilty because my dog is being treated better than most of the other people.
And you feel guilty?
And I feel guilty.
Oh, okay.
So I, rub your tummy and make sure you have food and water.
Yeah, so make sure you pet me, go on a walk with me, feed me.
And it goes both ways.
Your dog should treat you like your husband? You mean I should treat you like my dog? I got where that was.
Mitch sent us an email. I love this one. My dad always said, you can't trust anyone who drives a PT Cruiser. Yeah, I have to say, I know one person that drove a PT Cruiser. He seemed like a nice enough guy.
The PT Cruiser is currently not being manufactured, and it stopped being in production in 2010.
So it'd be at least 15 years old.
Yeah. You also shouldn't be hanging out with people that have 15-year-old cars.
Although your brother had a car that was
poor
20
Dale.
years old.
He just sold it. It was 24 years old.
We got some really interesting dating advice.
All right, so here's the weirdest dating advice you'll get. So after a breakup, go date 3 people that you would never date. If you like tall people, go date somebody short. You like outgoing, date somebody that's introverted. The thing is to break your patterns. It works really well. Keeps you from getting stuck in the same old.
So
same old.
That was very fun advice. Question, does it count as breaking your pattern if it's 3 men in a row and they're all named Steve?
Because that was mine. Okay, here's the deal. I did not know it until looking back that I did probably have a type. Mm-hmm. And until it was tall guys who cheated on me was my type. If you could treat me like crap, I'm in love.
I'm all yours.
My heart is yours. So I did, after the last tall guy who cheated on me, before I dated you, I dated 3 guys in a row named Steve. But they were all very different, I will have you know.
Mm-hmm. They just were all named Steve.
But they were all named Steve. So, hey, you either have a great time or a great story. And I have gone back to the well in the Steve story. I have to say, it's a great story.
Yeah.
And then I dated a tall guy. The next guy I dated was a tall guy who didn't cheat on me. See, I broke the pattern, found a nice guy.
I get this question all the time. Like, how did you end up with someone so impressive, beautiful, funny, smart as Kim? And she just answered the question. So like the baseline was really low, guys. you just had to not cheat on her and be tall. And I can't tell you how 0 times I've not ever wanted to cheat on you. That's ridiculous. In fact, I look at those other people and think, who hurt you?
Can I also, let's just like reveal something I've never revealed.
Oh,
ready?
Yeah, that's what this podcast is for.
This guy cheated on me with multiple people. And so I was in my 20s. And I found out about it, obviously, after. But one of the girls he cheated on me with also moved to New York to become a reporter at the same time I was at a different network. I ran into her all the time. And I didn't know how to, like, she knew I knew and I knew she knew. But I didn't. But at this point, you and I were married and I was happy. I was almost like thankful to her because if she was like the last one and she told somebody to tell me and the whole thing. So because of her, I was able to offload that guy, date the 3 Steves, meet you. But and you guys see her on TV with some frequency. I do credit her with saving me from that awful experience. Is somebody you guys see on TV a lot. There are some clues I can give that would really narrow it down, very specific. I literally have no ill feeling about her because she saved me from this debag.
Okay, so moving on, we did also, or Kim did, put out a call to say, if you do have any questions for us, we can try to ask them. And once again, this is totally unqualified advice. We have no medical degrees. We are lab rats. And this is from the experience that we've had with each other. So Lakeisha asked, how do you avoid making your anxiety everyone else's problem? She said she feels like she stops the room when she panics. And obviously that's no bueno.
Wow. You're being very self-aware, Lakeisha.
Stop the room when I panic?
Yeah.
That's a good start, right?
That's a good start.
Yeah. Do you think she's saying that actively when it's happening?
Yeah. No, I mean, probably not.
Yeah.
I have to say though, my sort of, when I spiral in anxiety, I remove myself. So, but everybody's different. So you might feel safer with people around. So I don't really have experience with that. I pull the ripcord and I will just leave.
Mm-hmm.
If it's my family, it's a party, it's a situation, and I just leave. And I guess that probably does, cause an issue at times.
I can observe some things that you do.
Please.
So you've worked on what's the cue? Like when I know it's coming, like before the actual panic attack happens, you have you notice symptoms and things and you know it's coming. And you know that this is, I hope I get this right. It doesn't just all of a sudden show up. You get a little bit of this and then it's there and then there's no stopping it. And for you, it's a vibration. You are so good at when this happens at finding me and saying, I'm starting to have this is happening. This is starting. I guess if you're able to find someone that you trust and let them know that it's coming.
Okay, now it's time.
Now it's time for us to be so hip and so with it.
What Gen Zers are saying. We are professional translators of what Gen Z is saying. The new term, and by new, I mean they've been probably saying this for 6 months, is holy airball.
Holy airball.
And I think you guys can, read into it. It just means a miss. You trip, you fall, holy airball. You drop something from your plate, holy airball. It is a TikTok trend right now.
This one to me was the closest to them stealing from us because we were the ones who invented when you're playing in a basketball game. This was invented in North Carolina. I think in Cameron Indoor Stadium was the first time when you miss the rim on a basketball shot, they start chanting airball, airball. So this is naturally right down my alley, which is why they're probably going to move on from it soon.
Are you making that up? Because I think sometimes you say things and you make them up, but you say it with such confidence.
The origin of the chant is linked to the 1979 Duke versus UNC basketball game.
Wow.
Why don't y'all trust me when I'm talking about Carolina basketball?
Of history.
Penn dropped something recently. Lola said airball, and it is a TikTok.
I got it immediately, but I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, but
nice.
It's a TikTok trend, like how they're doing it. So just so you guys are up on that. This brings me to ask you, Penn Holderness, what is the one thing your younger self would absolutely roast you for right now? And I can tell you mine while you're thinking.
So my younger self is roasting me for doing it right now.
Yeah. Like I have a pill organizer that's not big enough. So not only do I have a Monday through Sunday pill organizer and it's broken up into morning, afternoon, dinner, it is not big enough. I need a bigger pill organizer. And my 16-year-old self is so embarrassed of me right now.
That's a good one. And when we were younger guys and we saw a pill case, what was the first thing that we thought?
My grandma.
Yeah. This person is a grandparent, potentially a great grandparent.
Yeah.
And you have
knocking on death's door.
Yeah.
And I have a pill case that is so large that I can't even pack it in a carry-on. And it's a problem. It's a problem.
Yeah. If my 15-year-old self saw me trying to play basketball right now, he would be horrified.
But you're almost 50. That's normal.
Yeah.
You actually are 50. Sorry.
Yeah, I am 50. But when I run, it looks more like a speed walk. And when I jump, I don't know if I'm getting over a credit card. And I used to be a good jumper. I was the guy on my team when we were playing, when there was a basketball game, there was a person, an announcer. You guys had morning announcements in high school. So there's a morning announcement and they would say, tonight, Jordan's playing Hillside. Jordan is led by J.R. Scarborough and Penn, the white man who can jump, Holderness. That's what they called me on the morning announcements. And I was like, that's the coolest thing that anyone's ever said.
I think our teenage selves would also be horrified that last Saturday, we looked at each other Sunday at 7:30 and said, we could go to bed now.
Yeah.
And we did. We went, I think we turned the lights off at 9, but we were upstairs reading books at 7:30 on Sunday. Horrified.
And I would say to my younger self, I don't care. This is amazing. I'm going to sleep.
Okay. Are we done with nightclubs?
This seems like an obvious answer. They don't get going until what? I remember when I was in New York, you'd get there at 10 and be like, okay, is that cool? And no one shows up until like 12:30. So the obvious answer should be, yeah, there's no way we're going to nightclubs anymore.
But let me tell you, the answer is no, guys. I have been saying this for years. In fact, we have like actual evidence from our podcast talking about this. There is a new trend, and the New York Times wrote about it, about nightclubs that start at 4:00. And I think we missed $1 million idea, Penn. Should we play the clip from the podcast?
Sure.
When was it? What year was this podcast? 2024. I've been talking about it for years, as of last year.
You've been talking about it for a year.
I've been talking about it for a year. I'm trying to get excited about being an empty nester. I think we have like 5 more years. And in my head, I'm going to be the person that goes out several times a week to clubs. And by clubs, I mean like playing cards and games, not like the dance clubs. Although dance clubs, we should have like a 4 p.m. Gen X dance club. So the New York Times had a feature, and the headline was hysterical: party until the break of 10 p.m. They wrote about this inaugural installment of the Early Birds Club. It's a roving dance party that takes place within the hours of 6 and 10 p.m. It was developed by 2 Gen Xers in Chicago, and they've been friends since their teens.
Yep.
I think 6 might be a late start, guys. I say start at 4.
No, 6. Okay, hang on.
I think start. Well, don't you think we get investors, guys?
Investors?
No, but we host Gen X dance parties
from 6 to 10. So yeah, and here's some other prerequisites. Like you have to have some device to block out windows. Like you can't see sunlight.
Of course.
I think it has to look like dark.
It has to be dark. Yep. You have to be in comfortable shoes.
Okay.
Alcohol, honestly, we'd have a lot of good mocktails because alcohol optional. You can drink, not going to shame you.
Yep.
And it's just dancing.
Yeah, I love it. Like they've done this.
They've done it. There's a business model.
So you're just saying our difference would be it's us and we're hosting it.
We're stealing their idea. But I did have the idea before. I had the idea before.
I see. That's what this was for. So disclaimer. We got the
I've
idea before you read the article or saw the article.
But maybe we could make this like, maybe we could have like some sort of wellness something. People are getting something out of it. Right. I don't know. But who is up? Tell me in the comments for a 4 p.m. dance party.
So we're going, that's the different thing. You're going 4 to 8.
Because here, 6 to 10, let me tell you, that means I'm home by like 10:30, 11. I do my skincare routine. I'm home at midnight. I think it's 4 to 8, guys. That way I'm home. I probably have to shower because I've been sweating.
So you're getting ready to go to the dance club at 2 p.m.
Yeah. What else am I doing?
I don't know.
What else am I doing? So we're there at 4. We dance till 8. I get home. I shower because I've like burned so many calories and I'm sweating a storm. I do my skincare routine. I have a glass of lavender tea, a cup of, and I read my book, and I'm in bed at my normal time.
Okay. So it sounds like we are done with traditional nightclubs, but we are not done with this idea.
Who wants to be an investor? Hit me up in the comments. Thank you for staying on this journey with us in this podcast. I really appreciate you guys listening about Oprah.
Yep.
About the girl who slept with my ex-boyfriend.
If we leave that in there.
If we talk about perimenopause and ADHD, walking to a bar. This was a journey.
Yeah. So just so you know, Laugh Lines is written and produced by Kim Holderness, Penn Holderness, and Anne-Marie Tapke with original music by Penn Holderness. It is filmed, edited, and live produced by Sam Allen and hosted by Acast. The reason I have my finger up, Sam, how long has this recording been?
This episode is currently clocking in at 1 hour and 18 minutes.
So 1 hour and 18 minutes. So when you see where we are on the playhead now, that's how much stuff Sam had to cut out. So Sam may have been busy with this one. So great job, Sam. As always, we love to hear from you. Please write to us at podcast@theholdernessfamily.com or leave a voicemail at
323-364-3929. I have it memorized.
Yeah. We will talk to you soon on the Laugh Line. Thanks, guys.
Bye. Love you. Bye.